Welcome on into the Cleveland Browns Report by Chat Sports. Matthew Peterson here answering questions from our mailbag, which aired on Wednesday at 5 p.m. Eastern. So tune in next Wednesday if you have a question. Quick reminder, click the share button down below. Help our channel grow by sending it to more Browns fans and family members of yours. Our first question coming in from Joshua Miller. Is it more important to get the draft right or the QB right for the upcoming season? I mean, quarterback, right? Let's just go with two different scenarios. Option A, you take Travis Hunter at pick number 2, and you pick Jackson Dart at pick 33. And Dart is not good at all. He's a bust, and Travis Hunter is awesome. That's option A. Option B, you go with Shedeur Sanders at pick number 2, and you go with, I don't know, Derek Harmon, defensive tackle at pick 33. If Shedeur Sanders goes out there and leads the Browns to a winning season, no one's going to remember Derek Harmon's name by the time the Browns punch their ticket to the playoffs. So definitely the quarterback route. Josh, thank you so much for your question. Next one coming in from Iron Eagle. Travis Hunter, no matter what. Vontae, I can't wait to rewatch that movie. Carter, too much of an injury risk, and Sanders, in my opinion, is not a number 2 pick. So I've definitely warmed up to Travis Hunter a lot, and that's partially just my brain going, hey, if it's happening, get on board with it. Don't try and resist it. And he's an awesome football player, so it's not that difficult to get on board with it. But I still have some reservations about his role in the NFL between receiver and corner. As for Carter, the injury factor is not that big of a concern for me. Yes, you got to do your homework on these guys, and there are examples of players who are injured in college and they get to the pros and the injuries don't go away and it was predictable, but that's not the case with Carter here, so it's not like he's had this long history of it. I'm okay with that. As for Shedeur Sanders not being the number 2 pick, there's always going to be a tax on a quarterback. Like, most times you are not taking the quarterback at the best player available. You know what I mean? Like, unless it's number 1, if you take a quarterback at like number 10 or number 15, there's a very good chance that there are players out there at different positions who are viewed as better, but quarterback's more important. But still, I don't think Shedeur is close enough to warrant the number 2 pick for where he ranks in this draft. Roy from good old Germany. By taking Carter at number 2, would we have the best defense in the NFL? When you go through kind of the firepower you have, Myles Garrett, Abdul Carter, healthy JOK, put a pin in that one, Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit, like Greg Newsome, Martin Emerson. If all those guys are firing in all cylinders, then the answer is yes. I don't think Abdul Carter, just by himself as a rookie, with the way the Browns defense played last year, makes him the best defense in football. The Browns defense last year was average at best at times. And Carter, as a rookie, while I do think he's going to have a very good NFL career, I don't think he's going to have like the biggest impactful season we've seen from a rookie, where he gets 12 sacks to cover up all the miscues from the secondary. So I still think he can have a strong rookie year, but it'll be more dependent on the other guys stepping up and not stepping back like they did last season. Jeffrey, let's start putting up more offensive players in the draft and let Jim Schwartz take care of the defense with free agency. Keep up the good work, Pete. Jeffrey, thank you so much. I think you should be thinking about this like 180, where if you want Jim Schwartz to kind of just take care of the defense, well, then use some, later day 3 picks on defensive players, like the Rams have done the last few years with very few early picks. And if you got a great coach, he should be able to take a 3rd-round pick or a 4th-round pick and turn him into a really strong player. So you can definitely always find a couple of cheap veterans on a 1 to 2 year deal and plug and play guys. But as for planting roots, if Schwartz, which I believe is a very good DC, using some draft picks later on defense and not using the premium ones to save for offense should help the defense with Schwartz, developing those guys get better and better. But Jeffrey, thank you so much for your question. Dolphin X, nah, don't stray from the Carter. We ride with Carter till the end. Carter at 2 no matter what. I mean, Carter is my preferred pick for the Browns, but once so much smoke comes out of a different player, is anyone else in the same framework of I start to talk myself into the other player now because it's going to happen and I want to be excited about it? That's at least the way I operate when it comes to the draft, unless it's someone that I from day one have been against, and I've never been that much against Travis Hunter. I've just questioned his ability to play both ways in the NFL and which way he would play for the Browns. But Carter, I think, would be an awesome pick, and I think you'd put together the greatest defensive end duo in NFL history potentially, which sounds a bit dramatic, but Myles Garrett by himself is almost the greatest defensive end duo with anyone opposite of him. It's like, do you know which father-son duo has the most points in NBA history? LeBron James and Bronny James. LeBron doing 99.999% of the work, and Bronny doing the last little bit right there. But that's because of how good LeBron is. Same goes for Myles and insert anyone, but when that anyone is Abdul Carter, 12-sack campaign, first year as a defensive end. He's got incredible speed. I don't know how offenses prepare for that. Andrew, I also want to ask this. What do you guys think of our defense, and what do we need to have at wide receiver and quarterbacks to be able to make a playoff run? All right, so a couple questions here. Let's just kind of break it down bit by bit. Browns defense in general in the NFL is very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, I guess polarized, not quite polarizing, but fluid from year to year, right? I mean, timely subject. It's like the stock market. It's volatile. That's what I'm looking for. It goes up, it goes down. Offenses tend to stay consistent. So banking on your defense to stay good year after year is a tough ask compared to the offense. So with the way the Browns defense played in 23, I think they took their licks last year, and I expect them to be better in 2024. And I think a reason why is the offense should hopefully be better when it comes to not turning the ball over, putting the defense in bad positions. 23 defense, they were just all superheroes and could overcome any mistake and turnover from the offense. 24, I think they ran out of gas when it came to bailing out the offense. So part of that has to go in the offense to not shoot the team in the foot. As for wide receiver and quarterbacks to make a playoff run, I'm not going to say wide receiver is a huge, part of a team's ability to make a playoff run. Get good receivers. And right now the Browns have a very, flexible receiver in Jerry Jeudy who can line up inside, play outside. He can get yards after the catch. He can turn up field. He can run go routes. Like, Jeudy is showing you what you saw at Alabama when he was the best receiver in football. And then finally, quarterback. I mean, how much time do you got? I know I've already gave a long response to this question, but quarterback, it just comes down to initially stop taking sacks and stop committing turnovers. The Browns have been last or second to last in those two stats the past two seasons. Before we move on to the other questions on today's mailbag, a quick shout out to our friends at Game Time. Game Time makes getting tickets even faster and easier. Prices on the Game Time app actually go down the closer it gets to the first pitch. With killer last-minute deals, all-in prices, views from your seat, and their lowest price guarantee, Game Time takes the guesswork out of buying MLB tickets. So if you want to go to a Guardians game and you don't want to break the bank in the process, Game Time's a great place to visit before first pitch and see if the price is in your price range. So take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code CHATSPORTS for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHAT Sports for $20 off. Download the Game Time app today. Last minute tickets, lowest price, guaranteed. Kathy, what is the deal with the Cincinnati Bengals leaving Ohio? This, and I'm not going to say I have a master's in this question, but I've got a good understanding. Really stems from the Bengals stadium definitely looking for an upgrade and the ownership wanting that money from the state. And right now the Browns are kind of beating them to the punch, and there's fear that the state may not have money for a new or upgraded Paycor stadium. And Mike Florio, and this is probably where it came on your radar, Kathy, suggested, well, why don't the Bengals just share a stadium with the Chicago Bears? Chicago, Ohio, since both those teams are looking for new stadiums. It's the worst idea And Florio's had some reaches, and this one is the granddaddy of them all. It has no legs to it whatsoever. It's never going to happen. And I know that every so often I say, "Oh, never say never." The NFL, no, this really is it's never going to happen. They are not going to play their home games in Chicago. It just is not ever going to happen. Kathy, thank you for your question. Appreciate it. Dolphin X, what's going on? $50 super chat from Dolphin X during our live mailbag. Honestly, I'm overtaking Sanders over Hunter. I just can't see him being effective at both positions. At best, he's good. He's great at one position. I'd rather have a great defensive end next to my elite defensive end than a good/great receiver or corner next to my great corner or wide receiver. Dolphin, you raised fine and good points here. And that is where people like you and me are going to struggle with crossing over to the other side, which is if he only plays one way, is he worth the number 2 pick? If he only plays wide receiver in the NFL, I tend to say no. Because I don't think he's better than Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, 3 guys who went top 10 last year. But if the Browns look at him and internally they say, hey, this is what we want to do with Travis. We want to play him at receiver, we want to play him at corner, and we want to play him on special teams, and he does great at all 3 of those things, then the pick will make sense then. But until that day happens, I'm going to have my concerns. Dolphin, thank you for your super chat. Really appreciate it. Loverboy Charlie, people forget Travis Hunter was able to play offense, defense, and still manage to be a straight A student. Yeah, I don't really care about the grades, but it's a good thing for him. Don't get me wrong, but it's not something that really. I mean, obviously, it's always like a little bit of like a ear perking thing when they're like, "Oh, went to Harvard," like, "Oh, smart guy, right? Honor roll kind of person." But
it does. Producer Reed chipping in. It takes a smart mind to learn 2 playbooks.
It does, yeah, it does. So, Loverboy raised a good point, and I should probably let that sink in a little bit more than I am right now. But I'll also add this, and I don't want this is going to sound like an asshole. I was in college not long ago. I had a lot of class with athletes. I don't want to say they didn't get straight A's, but I've seen athletes get credit for things they didn't do. So I'm not going to look at that, and I'm not saying this didn't happen with Travis, but I think that's also kind of an important thing to remember that football players go to college to play football. I'm tired of the charade of the NCAA publishing and putting out this propaganda of student first. 99% of our athletes will never play pros. Yeah, well, you know what? Travis is. So he's not there to learn school. And there's a chance maybe that was kind of a, I don't know, factor in how well he did in his class. But I'm sure he's still a very bright person. Kirk Davis, do you see Shedeur Sanders falling as low as 20th and somehow Cleveland getting him then? Right now, it seems like the Saints have become the favorite for Shedeur because if he gets past the Giants at 3, which this is where things can get complicated. If the Browns go Travis at 2, are the Giants going to take Abdul Carter? They've got a lot of already really good defensive ends and linemen and things like that. They've got Kayvon Thibodeau. They've got Brian Burns, Dexter Lawrence. The Giants may feel comfortable with going a different position altogether than Abdul Carter. And so if they don't want to go Abdul Carter, maybe they do go Shedeur. But if they just don't think Shedeur is that great, then it could be a fall for Sanders. If no one trades up, like Patriots, Jags, I don't think the Raiders are as in on him as other people think they are. Same goes for the Jets. And the Saints are the question mark because they've got this weird relationship with Derek Carr where at times he looks good, but a lot of the fan base is already over him. So I think there's a greater possibility, and this is what I've been saying for a while, that Shedeur goes closer to 32 than pick number 1. Now, as for Cleveland trading up to get him, I think that 33rd overall pick is going to be used on a quarterback. Whether that means a trade up, staying put, or trading back, TBD. But I believe that pick is devoted towards getting a quarterback. 20 is the Broncos. From 33 to 20, it would require a second, obviously, a third, and probably a little bit more. And I don't know if the Browns want to give up that much draft capital after finally getting back into round one if it costs them a future first round draft pick. I would keep an eye on the Vikings at 24. Christopher Stofira. Carter has good speed. What about transition to linebacker if strength might be a concern? So strength has come up as a knock for Abdul Carter. He's 21. Like, think about yourself when you were 21. He's got the same human body of everyone else. Well, maybe not the same, but he's a human like anyone else, which means he's going to get stronger as he gets a little bit older. Let's give it some time here. This is where I think the NFL, it doesn't have a minor league system like baseball, so it's tough for these rookies to work those kinks out like players in the majors do in the minors, because the minors is an opportunity for the young guys to get stronger, get faster, and develop. In the NFL, you're just tossed right in. I don't have strength concerns for Carter. If he's 25 and he's still, getting pushed around a little bit, then talk to me then. But at the end of the day, it's a 21-year-old. Chris, I'm willing to give him a little bit more leeway. Soul Train, just hope it's a great draft regardless. Go Browns. Yeah. Well, Soul Train, my question to you is, what would constitute a great draft for the Browns? Let me know. For me, I'd probably say I'd be, over the moon excited if it's Abdul Carter or even Travis Hunter at number 2, and then Caleb Johnson or Omarion Hampton at pick 33. Before we sign off, I do want to remind everyone to subscribe to the channel. We're going to have free draft analysis all round 1, 2, and possibly 3 in terms of live coverage. So make sure you are a part of the channel by clicking that sub button. And now let's pick a card to wrap up today's episode. Reed, which card do you want to go with?
Oh, sorry. Something in my throat.
Yeah.
Can I go Jack of Clubs?
Jack of Clubs. Jack of Clubs. I'm going to go with. I'll go with Queen of Clubs. No. 2 of Diamonds. 2 of Diamonds. See everyone later.